I have officially found the worst take in hobby history, the worst opinion to have in this entire industry, and that's that brick and mortar sports card shops are not good for the hobby. This is a YouTube video that I came across from watching Rob from Burbank on Instagram talking about the same thing. So I wanted to go watch the video, which I did last night, and I was beyond outraged with how I felt after watching this video. So I waited a day to make this video here for you guys right now. And I'm going to be having screenshots about, what this guy is saying and his opinions about it. I've already left a nice, good, in-depth comment on this video. I'm not going to link the video in the description of this video at all. But if you guys literally just type in SCV sports cards, it'll probably pop up. If you type in brick and mortar sports card shops are not good for the hobby, it'll pop up there as well. So I wanted to, again, just give myself a day to decompress and really kind of hone in my thoughts about this. Again, I also left a nice big comment, but this video is going to be a longer video. So guys, sit back and relax and try to understand my rebuttals for his horrid takes. And again, it's his opinion, and he's of course entitled to his opinion, but some opinions are just dead wrong, and this is one of them. So number one, why open in this day and age? There's 50 robberies. I think he said like in the area within the past month or whatever. Insurance is not a sound business plan. Sorry. Open one in this day and age if you're truly passionate about the hobby and you really have a good business plan and business model. He kind of goes into like Instagram streamers and having huge egos thinking that they can open shops. I know a handful of whatnot streamers, Instagram streamers, who think that they can open up shops, and it's just very, very difficult to do so. So I kind of understand that take there, but the 50 robberies, the amount of robberies or just being robbed in general is nothing to do with the owner of the store. I mean, robberies happen all the time across the country. Here in southeastern New England, there was a bunch of break-ins to local shops over the course of 6 weeks, and I was petrified. But there's nothing I can do about that besides have a good security system, and it is our responsibility to have insurance. No, it is not a business plan. It's a peace of mind for in case something was to happen. If all my singles and all my boxes were stolen, obviously, it's going to be tough to kind of calculate that because of the volatile market. But it's a peace of mind that there will be some kind of compensation for the unfortunacy that happened to you being robbed. So this is not our fault. So I don't understand why this is a legitimate reason. One reason nobody should open a brick and mortar shop, regardless of industry, regardless of area, is because of robberies. We're all feared that we're going to be broken into. So I think this is just a poor take here. Number two, always overpriced, just like shows, singles boxes. You can get everything you can literally get everything cheaper online. Now, always overpriced. Listen, I can't speak for other shops, and I mentioned this in my comment, but I'll speak for Murph's Card Town. When boxes come out, I competitively price them based on other online retailers. If there's an MSRP, then I price them at MSRP. And over time, if prices fluctuate, it's very hard to keep track of. Every box, every single, every card, it's very, very difficult and challenging. However, on release day, or at least when I get that product, I'm pricing it in good faith. Now, when it comes to singles, same thing. I am pricing it in good faith based on recent eBay sales. Now, let's say a card is selling for 90, 100, and 110. Where am I going to be? The average is obviously going to be 100. But what if the 110 was the more recent comp? Am I supposed to go to, can I go to 110? If it's, 110, 190, then obviously I'm going to think to myself, like, okay, $90 plus shipping and taxes, it's over 100. So maybe $95 or $100 is justifiable. Again, I mean, it's just, you can literally get everything cheaper online. And my biggest argument always is, okay, now you got to calculate shipping. You got to calculate taxes, potential fees at some of these places. And then you got to wait for the boxes or whatever you ordered to come in the mail. I mean, if you order something on Thursday, It's probably not going to process till Friday. It might not get shipped out till Monday. And then what are you going to get at the end of the week? You're waiting a whole week just to get that product in, just to save yourself or spend a couple extra bucks because you had to pay for shipping because you didn't meet the free shipping threshold, and you can't. Taxes are just fairly unavoidable. By the way, if you guys hear some background noise, there are some guys doing some work here at the shop down in the basement. So if there's any excess background noise, I do apologize for that. I know I've been apologizing some recent videos, but I just want to kind of let you guys know I do apologize. I mean, isn't the price of convenience worth something? Now, of course, what that something is going to vary depending on person, but in my opinion, I think the price, the premium price of having it right then and there, that price of convenience, is worth a few dollars, in my humble opinion. Now, I could be wrong about this, but I mean, do you really want to wait that long? Do you really want to wait a week for the box to come in damaged, or maybe the card to have a soft corner that you didn't see on the online photos? It's just, there's so many more variables and so many more hands that whatever you're buying has to go through in order to get from point A to point B, and point B being you. Whereas if you're buying a box at a local shop, you can ask, hey, is that a new release? Hey, what are the top rookies? What color inserts am I looking for? And you can probably find a lot of that information online too. But establishing a relationship with the local shop owner, is that a bad thing either? I mean, I don't think so. I love talking to people, and I love picking their brains and having them pick mine and just having a good hobby-related conversation. So I just think this is awful, and you can't establish a relationship online with the exception of giving that person money. Now, of course, being a business, people give me their money when they buy things. However, I'm trying to establish more than just a monetary relationship. I've met so many people, and they've become my friends since I've opened my doors 3 years ago, and I'm really happy to have gone through all that. And if I was just an online-only place, that would not have happened to me. I would not have the friends that I do. I would not know the people that I know if I was online only, because all I would see is usernames or emails that pop up saying that they spent $200 on this or whatever on that, and I wouldn't know where it's going to or who it's going to. But again, in person, I mean, social skills, relationships, I mean, they're all necessities in society. All right. Number 3, never have what you want. Singles boxes, they don't have it, not even a maybe. This is a tough one here. I do give him a little bit of, I do raise the white flag a little bit on this one, because eBay, online, wherever, has anything and everything that you can possibly think of. 1993 Ken Griffey Jr., insert this, or 2012 Topps baseball hobby box. Like, most shops aren't going to carry something like that stuff, and that's fair. I mean, why should we? Obviously, when it first comes out, that makes sense. We should carry that stuff. But over the course of time, if something sells out because customers are buying it, how is that our fault for not being able to order a restocking order from the wholesalers or the manufacturers? Why can't we start pointing a little bit of fingers towards them and be like, hey, you guys should have enough stock to be able to withstand the amount of restocked orders that are expected from these LCS shops? It's just really puzzling that he's not really having a broader mindset about this. Like, for instance, was it Topps Chrome 2023 Topps Chrome baseball came out? Was it a month ago now? Maybe a month and a half, 2 months ago. I don't know when. When it first came out, sold out immediately within day one. Okay, makes sense. Anticipated release, very good set, fan favorite, sold out. Now, if someone comes to the shop in 2 weeks looking for that same product, I'm sorry that I'm sold out. I do apologize. I'm sold out, but it's not my fault. People came before you and bought the product. People came before you, bought the product, and wiped my shelf or my inventory of that product. Now, when I go to my distributors' websites and they have it out of stock and I can't reorder it, I want to reorder that product for you guys. I do. But if it's not available from them, then there's nothing I can do about it. So I don't really understand how that's a local shop's fault. Now, of course, we should prepare for that. But then again, we get into the whole allocation conversation. It's just a rabbit hole that this guy wants to go down to, but he has no lack of knowledge about this area. So I don't understand why he's having this conversation. Singles, there's a gazillion singles out there in the world, and I'd say Burbank Sports Cards in Burbank, California has the vastest selection of sports cards you can possibly think of. I mean, their system over there is tremendous in how they do things over there. And if Burbank doesn't have it, then I doubt it. I doubt that it's anywhere else unless it's like a super short printed card. I mean, when it comes to singles, we can only stock so many singles. I mean, we're not going to have just PSA 10, Trevor Lawrence, Joe Burrows, Patrick Mahomes cards laying around, just having a whole stack of them in the back for when one person comes, okay, the next person comes, and just, I mean, it's not like it's 89 Upper Deck King Griffey Jr., where you could buy that directly from Upper Deck and then just have a stack of 25 in the back and sell one at a time. It doesn't work like that anymore, and it never has really ever since the junk wax era ended. Of course, you could go online and look up anything and everything, and they more than likely have it. Again, I do give him a little bit of a pointer there, but if I have a PSA 10 Justin Fields card and someone buys it before you, how is that my fault that I don't have it anymore? Maybe you should have came in sooner, or maybe you should have reached out to see if I had it. It's just really, really, really puzzling that he's thinking that he's justifying his reasons, but they're really not justifiable, only if you just think outside the box. Number 4, all act like victims. We only get 1 to 2 boxes or none at all. Cry me a river, figure it out. Boxes go to breakers who adapted to the times. This is an all-timer take. This is a terrible, terrible take. Now, I will admit, I've only gotten 1 or 2 boxes, and I still do from the distributors. And it's a pain in the ass, and it's very unfortunate that I still do. However, that's just the nature that we're in. A lot of accounts were opened up during COVID, of course, myself included. I wish I was able to open up in 2020 when I wanted to, and I think I would have kind of maybe scraped by before being lumped into, one of those accounts that doesn't get a lot of allocation. But that's what it comes down to, allocation. Allocation is the key here. Not every shop has millions and millions of dollars to just throw at these distributors to build, a rapport and to build their allocation that way. Some shops have to actually grind it out from nothing, from the bottom, and grind it out because they care more about dollar signs. They care more about the hobby. And sometimes I'll admit that we get, myself, get none of the products. I'm sorry. It's just the way it is. We don't get allocated anything. And, I mean, do you want me to cry you river? Because I will if you want. How are we supposed to figure it out? You tell me. He says figure it out, and if you go watch the video, he doesn't explain how that I'm supposed to figure it out, or someone like myself in a position to figure it out. Because I'd absolutely love to know. Because when I go on Southern Hobby, when I go on GTS and all my distributors, and I look 2023 Panini Prism football hobby box, and I get allocated what I get allocated, what am I supposed to do if they only allocate me 1 or 2 boxes? You tell me, pal. How am I supposed to figure that out when they allocate me 1 or 2 boxes? What am I supposed to do? Am I supposed to send them a nasty email saying, F you guys for only sending me 1 or 2 boxes? How could you do this to me? I am so infuriated. Send me more. That ain't going to get anything done. It's not going to get anything done at all. Boxes go to breakers who adapted to the times. I've already made a video about backyard breaks becoming repacks. I'll leave a card to that video right there for you guys. I strongly recommend you checking that video out just because I dive more into it because I really don't want to, beat a dead horse. Breakers adapted to the times of a fad from 2020 to 2023 was a big breaking fad. It really was. There's always been breaks, years ago, and there always will be moving forward. But to the degree that we know it on Whatnot and having all these crazy shows with, all these fancy transitions and sound effects are phasing out. It's just the nature of it. But small breaks at your local shop or your small group breaks on Facebook groups, they'll always exist. But even Backyard, who claimed to be the biggest and best breaker in the industry, who was making millions and millions of dollars breaking, are doing repacks. So, again, was it once a time to be a breaker? Sure. Moving forward, that's not going to be the case. And breakers are taking all the accounts with these manufacturers, with these wholesalers and distributors where they shouldn't. I've been a huge proponent of this. Breakers should not have direct accounts. Local brick and mortar card shops should, and they're the only ones that should. And the breakers should have to get their products through the shops. Am I a little biased because I'm a shop? Maybe, but a lot of people share the same opinion as me, so it's really hard to say that I'm really, really being biased and that my opinion is really, really skewed here, because a lot of people agree with me on that one. So when breaking to the degree that we know it with Whatnot and TikTok and all this good stuff, when that fad is over and phased out, what times are the breakers going to be adjusting to? Curious. Again, I'd love to know. Figure it out. Number 5, you have to be there 24/7. You can't really find quality employees in this business, let alone guys to barter for you with your cash. Now, again, I agree with him to a degree. I won't hire anybody outside of my family. More often than not, I probably won't hire anybody outside of my family unless it's like help at a card show or something like that, which is a little different because I'm there. However, Mrs. Murph has helped me here at the shop. You guys have, come into the shop and met her. Mama Murph has been fantastic, helping out here with me at the shop. But that's family, and you should be able to trust family. But you have to be there 24/7. I agree. I'm here. Let's see. The shop's open 8 hours a day, 5 days, and then 6 hours one day. But I'm always here a little earlier, sometimes a little after. So let's just call it 50 hours a week. Now I'm open 7 days a week because of the holidays. So tack on another 8 hours, call it 9. So I'm working here at the shop around 60 hours a week. Now, that's not 24/7, but that's a lot of hours. However, I know the type of commitment that takes. I know the type of commitment that owning a small business takes. My dad owned a convenience store for 40 years. And when I was growing up, he would leave at like 7 in the morning and he wouldn't come home till 8 at night. So I know the struggle and what it takes to run your own business, your own small business. Now, some of these other people, again, these Whatnot streamers, these Instagram streamers who have a huge ego that think that they can do it, may have no idea, and I'd like to think that this is kind of more geared towards them opening shops, but it's really hard for him to have all these opinions and just kind of throw every shop into the mix. It's like, it's not true. Maybe a lot of these, if not all these points, really hit the nail on the head for some shops, sure, but sure as hell not all the shops, and definitely not Murph's Card Town. It's just, why are you judging every shop, everybody who has a brick and mortar shop based on A, your experiences, and B, based on all the negative stigmas that card shops have, which, listen, not having what you want, being overpriced, the negative stigmas of shops, and I won't deny that, and I try to fight those negative stigmas all the time, whether here on the channel, at shows, at the shop, obviously, and I'd like to think I'm doing a decent, good job, but when videos like this are being made, it makes me think that it's like, no matter what I say, it's just, card shops are always going to be bad, they're always overpriced, because people watch videos like this and think, oh, wow, oh my God, I'm not going to a shop. I wanted to, but not anymore. It's like, no, this guy is a poison. He's talking out of his ass because he just had bad experiences, is a COVID flipper, and he's a in it for a minute kind of a guy who has absolutely no clue about the history of the hobby or where the hobby is going in the future, especially if he thinks breakers have adjusted to the times. Number 6, stupid reason here, government regulations shut down at any time. The post office never shuts down. Listen, the only time that government regulated stores to shut down was COVID-19. Now, of course, they may recommend a lot of stores and businesses close early or close for like a crazy snowstorm or like a hurricane or something like that, where there's weather and Mother Nature that plays a factor. However, the government's just not going to shut down at any given moment in time just because they want to. That's not how that works. The government needs brick and mortar stores, whether they're massive retail chains or if they're small mom and pop businesses. All of these in-person brick and mortar businesses contribute to the economy. And without that economy being strong, the government's going to have no money. And they suffered a lot because of COVID with all of these small businesses and all these in-person stores being shut down. So they're not going to do it, especially if they don't have to. And the only reason they had to was because of COVID-19. So this is just an awful, awful opinion. The government knows that they need businesses to make money, to thrive, to help boost the economy. It's just a simple fact. And if you had any knowledge about how the government works or how the economy works or how small businesses contribute to that economy and society, then this point would not have existed. And the post office does not shut down. You're right. Number 7, no one stands up to the manufacturers. Famous guys, shop owners, and breakers. And then he gives you an example here. $900 Prism box. The hit's a $300 blue ice. It's creased. It's 90-10 centering. There's no dignity because us shop owners don't care about your experience. We just care about the money that you give us. Again, all-time horrid take. First of all, let me start backwards. No dignity. I'm going to speak for Murph's Cardtown, has a ton of dignity in this hobby. I strive myself on integrity, honesty, and promoting a happy and healthy hobby. And again, I can't speak for every local shop owner. This could be coming from his personal experience. But again, why are we judging every shop based on a small sample size of what your experience is? He says he's been all into a bunch of shops in Southern California, Burbank included, which he refers to quite often. So why are we lumping all the shops that you haven't been into, the shops that are actually good? And again, $900 Prism box, if your hit's a $300 blue ice, whatever, how is that my fault? Especially if it's creased, the centering's off, there's a print line, a soft corner, whatever it may be. How is that my fault? Again, if we want to blame, we should be blaming the manufacturers, and I will blame them with you. But why are we blaming me? Because I made $900 on the Prism box and you made a 30 your money back? First of all, I'm not making $900. I still have to buy the box for whatever it costs. Let's say the box cost $500 and the market price is $700. I'm only making $200 compared to what I could be making based on your math. Yeah, trust me, I wish I was making $900 off a Prism box. But that's just not the case. You still have to buy the product. And a lot of people kind of forget about this, is that, hey, just because I have that box for $1,000 doesn't mean I'm making $1,000. I still had to pay X to get it. It's just, again, he has no idea about simple business retail knowledge. And it's really disheartening because he's speaking out of his ass and it's all false. Again, his opinion's his opinion, but it's just, it makes no sense. At least have your opinion make some kind of sense. Let's see, what is it? No one stands up to the manufacturers. Again, he doesn't give an example of how we can stand up to the manufacturers. Us local shops stand up to the manufacturers. But I'm curious on how. Again, what am I supposed to do? Am I supposed to email Panini furiously? Hey, I want you to allocate me 3 full cases of Prism football hobby boxes or else. Or I'm going to boycott you. Or I'm never going to buy Panini products ever again. A, they don't care. B, they're probably not going to respond. And C, if it gets down to nitty-gritty of legalities, they're going to blow any local shop out of the water, especially if it comes down to legality matters. So what are we supposed to do? If we boycott Panini or the manufacturers, then we're just going to go back to one of your previous points where we don't have that product or every product that you're looking for. So we can't boycott these products. As much as I'd love to boycott Panini because their print quality is horrendous, but we have to continue buying from them to keep our shelves stocked, to avoid people like you. Oh, they don't have anything and everything that I want. Ugh. Again, you're like contradicting yourself without giving realistic explanations on how supposed to stand up to these manufacturers. Then he goes into he restarts his points, so he starts over number 1 again. Can't sell cards online or won't get paid. First of all, not true. He's got big boy sports cards better than Burbank. Can't compete. The example he uses is that Burbank pays like 60 to 70% comps, where big boy sports cards pays 80 to 90. Well, if you sell your cards for 80 to 90% to this guy, I don't know who this big boy sports card is, so I'm not trying to say anything negative about him. But if he buys it for 80 to 90% and he goes online on eBay to sell it, well, he's going to be taking a hit because of eBay fees. Now, I know there's ways to get around or at least to lower eBay fees, whether it's having a store or having or being a high rated seller. So I understand that there are ways to lower it. Nonetheless, there's still eBay fees that he has to pay. So how much profit or ROI is that guy making? And listen, great for him and great for you to be able to sell him your cars for 80 to 90%. I know me personally, I don't like to pay 80, 90%. I like to be at 70%. But when I'm making deals with people, I'm transparent and I tell them straightforward, hey, I'm going to be at like 70, 75 on some things, 65, 70 on some things. Everybody's different. And it's your responsibility to either accept those parameters or move on. Go to the next table, go to the next shop, go to whoever. It's okay. I mean, if I tell somebody, I'm at 70%, I'll give you $70 for a $100 card, and they don't like it, sorry, but that's where I'm at. Have a nice day. I'm just honest. I'm transparent. One of my foundational pillars is honesty and integrity, and I'm never going to lie to somebody and say, oh, well, that's a $100 card. Well, let me pay you $40 for it. Like, I'm not going to do that because I still care about the hobby and I actually care about other people's experiences, where, again, going to your number 7 point, us shops don't care about our experiences, which I do. And listen, making money is integral pillar in any business. But again, sometimes you need to prioritize having happy customers over a dollar sign, because those happy customers are more likely to come back compared to unhappy customers who might not. I've seen countless people not come back to this shop, not come back into the hobby because they struck out on too many boxes or their investments have tanked. And it's quite unfortunate. But when I do see people make out and that they did buy a box for $200 and they pulled a $1,000 card, or they bought a card for $100 and now it's $300 and they're doing well, those happy customers are going to keep coming back. You can't sell cards like online or won't get paid well. It's just, listen, if you want to be an online place, be an online place. But there's a huge difference between online and in person. Some people can do both very well. I think Burbank's can do very well, does very well doing both. And speaking of Burbank, he torches Burbank in this video. And Rob, owner of Burbank, responds to this video, which prompted me to make a response to this video, which is, again, I just don't understand this guy's takes and opinions. And at any point, guys, if you have something to say, a rebuttal, or something to follow up on with anything that I'm saying or what this guy's saying, please leave a comment down below, as I'm definitely curious of what your thoughts and opinions are. I want to read and reply to any and every single comment, because this is a major conversation that we need to have. And it's just quite unfortunate that we need to have this conversation, but we have to because this guy made this video. Number 2, not convenient. He's part of the new Amazon lazy generation. Well, again, I'm open 7 days during the holidays. What more do you want me to do? I'm open 6 days regularly the other 11 months of the year. I know some shops are only open 5 days. I know some shops can, if they have a good enough employee size, they can be open 7 days. But you being a part of the new lazy generation, that's a you problem, not a me problem. How is that my fault? How is that my fault that you're lazy? I don't understand that at all. How is it my fault that you're part of the lazy generation and that is a reason or one of your reasons why brick and mortar sports card shops are not good for the hobby? I'm open 12 to 8 during the week. A lot of people, work in the morning, maybe a lunch break. They can come by 12 to 1. They get out of work, 4, 5, 6 o'clock, and they can come by the shop at night, where most shops, at least in the area that I'm in, are open from 10 to 6, which is, kind of tough to swing for some people because, again, work or school or whatever it may be. But I think 12 to 8 is very convenient for people. So, again, you're judging every shop based on small experiences that you had. Many shops not up to date, consignment grading, submissions, products, older guys, no clue. Let's see. Again, I price all my stuff in good faith when I get it. But if I have a card sitting in my case for 2 weeks, let's say, and it's just, let's say it's a Tatum, let's say it's a Luka Doncic Prism base 10. That's going to be a very volatile card, or even a 9, more volatile. It's always going to be up and down, up and down. One day it's going to spike, one day it's going to drop. It's just all over the place. So Should it be my responsibility to stay up to date on the prices? Sure. However, your lack of knowledge and experience in business, any business, is very shown here, because if you look at all the boxes, all the supplies, all the singles, all the graded cards, anything and everything that I at least have in my shop, and there's other shops that are bigger, there's no way you can stay up to date with pricing. There's just no way. The market is so volatile, it moves and fluctuates all the time, and it's nearly impossible to stay up to date when it comes to that stuff. So again, how is that my fault? I guess it should be my responsibility to stay up to date, but it's not my responsibility to have a consignment firm, which he strongly recommends that is paramount for these shops to have. Now, I used to have a consignment case, but I got rid of it because I had a run-in with somebody. Actually, it was the guy, if you guys remember, 2 years ago, who actually stole from the shop. He used the consignment case to kind of cover himself like he was looking at cards, but he was actually putting them in his pocket. Not the consignment cards, my cards. So that's kind of one of the reasons why I got rid of it. But if someone has $100 in their hand, pink, let's say $100 bill is now pink, and they see a card in the consignment, they're going to buy it for $100, but I'm only going to get a small percentage of it. Now, when I did have consignment, I only did 10%. Some places do more. I don't know how much do less, to be honest. Maybe some online places maybe do less, whatever. But that, if I don't have the consignment case, then that person can spend that $100 with me, and now I'm getting that whole $100, 96, 97 after a swipe fee potentially. So it makes no sense why we should. Now, is it helpful for the community and other local hobbyists to be able to put your cards, to put their cards in a consignment case? Sure, but I don't think it's a necessity that card shops should have to have this. Grading submissions, I do that. He was kind of against it because some places had some quivers or some run-ins with some of the grading things. But again, I work with TGA, I work with CGC. TGA I've worked for close to 3 years now. CGC, a couple months. I've had no issues with them, either of those guys. So I don't really understand the point here. Let's see. He has a couple notes here at the bottom. Let's wrap this up because this video has been extremely long, and I really do appreciate you guys watching this video up until this point. And if you have, please smash the thumbs up button to let me know. Leave a comment that you got to this point so I can give you a huge shout out, because I really do appreciate you guys watching this video. This is an important video that I really wanted to make just to get all my thoughts and opinions off my chest so you guys can know. And of course, you can read my comment if you find this video as well, which dives much more deeper into how I feel about this video. Note, there will be unicorns, bullpen, Burbank. Okay, so number one, these are like closing regards. Number one, close immediately or double down. Social media, grading, consignment, all of that. So either I should double down or I should just close the shop. Now, if he's ever owned a business or ever worked for a small business or knows anyone who does that, they would know, or he would know, that opening any small business, regardless of profession, regardless of hobby, whatever, you have to double down. I got my degree in psychology. I got my master's in mental health counseling. When it came to the point that I didn't want to do that anymore and I wanted to open my own card shop back in 2019, give or take, then I knew that I had to drop all of that. I couldn't be a counselor making 80 grand a year and also own a shop. It just doesn't work like that. You have to double down. And from the other small business owners that I know, they've invested in so much into their business. They've taken out second mortgages. They've taken out loans. That's what you have to do, is you have to double down. You have to push all of your chips into the middle. And that's one thing that amazes me about successful small businesses, is that they knew the odds. Roughly 8 out of 10 small businesses fail within the first 2 years, and they are defining them, or they're trying to defy them. And he just has no idea about what it really takes to go into a small business. Yes, you have to double down. Yes, you need to put all your chips into the middle, and you have to go for it. And if you don't go for it, then you're giving your small business a disservice. Like, some people quit their very well-paying jobs to open up their own business and try to be successful that way. And sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. But again, that's the risk. That's the choice that you have to make. And he just thinks it's easy. You close immediately or double down. Like, doubling down is easy. Doubling down is not easy, guys. It is not. Again, I'm working 50 to 60 hours a week. Now, right now, Mrs. Murph and I don't have kids. So when we do, that's going to be time that I'm away from my kids and my family. Right now, I got 2 dogs. One of them is handicapped, going through his recovery from blowing a disc in his spine. And that's me missing time away from him to take care of him because I really don't know what his timeline looks like. He's been doing very well as of late, and I owe you guys an updated Instagram post about that, so I will get that out there soon. But, like, the doctor said that he had 2 days or he had 2 months or he'll be fine. It's just like the scenarios were all over the place, and the potential outcomes were literally bipolar of, again, 2 days or he'll be fine. It's like, which one's going to be? Again, me being here at the shop was taking away time from being with him and still is. So I know what it takes to double down. It just, Number 2. Warehouse. Anyone to looking to open in person, you should look for a warehouse in the middle of nowhere, cheap warehouse. This dude has no idea anything about commercial real estate, whether it's a warehouse or a commercial or a retail front. There's still overhead. There's still expenses that you have to pay. You can't just go buy a warehouse in the middle of nowhere and expect it to be cheap. I mean, warehouses are huge. Multiple thousands of square feet. Like, where am I supposed to find one that's cheap? Give me an example. I'd love to know. Because my overhead expenses include rent, electricity, heat, includes water, it includes internet. Am I missing anything? Insurance, taxes. I mean, all of those are monthly overhead expenses that go into my storefront. Now, if you have a warehouse, you are still going to have all of those. I'm sorry, you're still going to have all of those. And I do not think that a warehouse, again, location depends and state depends and all that good stuff, and service provider depends. But generally speaking, in a vacuum, when I think of a warehouse, I'm thinking of like a 4,000 or 5,000 square foot place, 10,000 square foot place, and those are going to be very expensive. They are very expensive, and you are still going to have either a mortgage, a rent. You're gonna have to pay for internet. You're gonna have to pay for electric, water, all that good stuff, taxes. So it's just a poor take here because you just can't open a warehouse. You just can't. I mean, at that point, again, just open a storefront and be a local card shop. Stand up to the manufacturer. He kind of goes back to stand up to the manufacturers. Be on the right side of history. Don't be petrified. I'm certainly not. I'll give him credit. He is certainly not for stating his opinion and having his opinion, though he's not really backing it up well. But stand up to these manufacturers. Again, you didn't give me any reasons. You didn't give me any ways on how to do so. You didn't give me any tips or tricks or an avenue to take to stand up to these manufacturers. Because again, if I stand up to them, they're just going to shut me off. They're not going to give me any product. Then I'm going to be a shop that doesn't have anything and everything you're looking for. And it's just a spiral effect. Be on the right side of history. What's the right side of history? The right side of history is card shops. Through thick and thin, through the junk wax era, to the market crash in 2009, COVID, and obviously the high inflation that we're seeing here in 2023, card shops have been a thing and always will be a thing moving forward. Card shops are the humble abode, the HQ, the center of the hobby. And it's the people within the hobby that make up the overall package that we know and love of this hobby. Like, I strongly believe that there's like a 97% good people in this hobby. I really do. 3% bad. They try to scam. They try to screw you over. They make videos like this. But those 3% speak the loudest. They do. You never hear of two people making a great deal that's beneficial for each other, where they both net gain in tremendous ways. But you will hear the story about someone scamming the other person for thousands of dollars. And how many times have we heard stories like that? You will hear the story about robberies. You will hear those stories. You will hear stories of the market going down, or this player's market is going down. You'll hear those, but you won't hear that it's going up and people are reaping the benefits. No, but you will hear that people are down and bummed that their Trevor Lawrence card is going in the gutter because of his injury. So Again, his opinion is his opinion. He's entitled to it. But this video is just down bad awful. It is horrid, and it's just wildly, wildly incorrect. He is clearly uneducated. He is clearly a generational collector, if he even calls himself a collector. A generational flipper, I think, is probably the better term for him. And I don't know anything about this guy. This is the one and only video that I've watched, and this is the one and only video that I will watch of this guy. So guys, thank you so much for watching this very, very long video. I do apologize that this video was so long, but I had to get so much off of my chest, and I hope you can understand. And again, I really hope you were able to make it all the way through to this point in the video. Smash the thumbs up button if you enjoyed this video. Comment anything down below, especially your thoughts and opinions about this video. Any takes that I have or any opinions that he has, I'd love to read and reply to any and all comments. Please consider subscribing to the channel if you're new or haven't considered subscribing, as I would greatly appreciate your love and support. That is going to do it for this one, guys. And if you enjoyed this video, hopefully you did, this longer form video, then I've queued up an excellent video right here for you guys that I do believe is going to be excellent for your hobby endeavors. Hopefully, I'll see you in that one.